Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain DXB and today is the 16th of May 2024. Now the prices of Bitcoin and the global cryptocurrency market, guys, has definitely pumped up, and the answer to that is pretty simple, guys. What happened yesterday is that the CPI numbers were out. Now CPI numbers is Consumer Price Index. Now what that actually states is that the inflation is marginally slowing down. Now it's really important to note, guys, that the inflation is still high, but it has gradually gone down in comparison to previous 3 months. Because in 2024, guys, inflation has been on an incline for the month of January, February, and March. So this information has to do with the month of April, and it has gone marginally down. Now, the reason why this has impacted the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, guys, is based on these numbers of CPI, Federal Chair Jerome Powell will be making a decision whether to increase the interest rate hike, reduce the interest rate hike, or keep the same. Now, look, guys, I very specifically remember when the inflation picked up in January. Federal Chair Jerome Powell did actually state that he does not want to hastily go out and make any decision. Now, because the inflation has gone down, I'm pretty much sure he'll go out and keep the interest rate hike because he does not want to make a hasty decision again, isn't it? Now, look, as these CPI numbers definitely have a very strong impact so far as US election is concerned as well. Now, if you look at mainstream media, guys, they are actually portraying as though the inflation has gone down considerably. That is not true. So what I'd really recommend you to do is, guys, whenever you're looking at inflation, the only website to look at is Bureau of Labor Statistics, and the website is www.bls.gov. So I'll definitely go ahead and touch base on that news. Now in today's episode, guys, we have some really interesting news. Now the Department of Justice, they have accused 2 brothers, and what those brothers did, guys, they tried to have an exploit in Ethereum blockchain, and this is more to do with Ethereum validating Poland mining industry. Now here's the interesting bit, guys. They actually stole $25 million in just a matter of 12 seconds. So what I'm going to be doing, guys, in today's episode, I'll go ahead and briefly explain what is the exploit and how they try to commit that fraud. And they also set up shell companies. Now usually, guys, legislations and regulations going after cryptocurrencies is definitely not a good thing, isn't it? But so far as this case is concerned, maybe it turns out to be a positive move for the cryptocurrency industry. So I'll definitely go ahead and touch base on this news. Now look, guys, tokenization is a massive deal, and this week, guys, I've been talking about tokenization quite a lot, isn't it? And we have some massive news, and that is MasterCard and Standard Chartered. They have actually tested on tokenization. So I'll definitely go ahead and touch base on what this news is all about. And later on, guys, in today's episode, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be discussing tokenization in the world of central bank digital currency. And let's see, guys, if tokenization can actually be issued on central bank digital currency, and what are the dangers of tokenization in central bank digital currency. Because look, guys, it's really important to note when you talk about central bank digital currency and compare it, let's say, with Bitcoin, one of the key difference between Bitcoin and CBDCs are that Bitcoin has solved the double spending problem, but in case of central bank digital currency, double spending is still possible, and that is because of central entities involved, isn't it? So we'll definitely go ahead and have a look at that. Now look, so far as cryptocurrency is concerned, we often talk about not your keys, not your crypto, isn't it? Now look, there's a really interesting and stark information all the way from UK, and UK authorities, guys, they can go ahead and seize your cryptocurrency. This, to be honest, guys, completely baffles me, but I'll definitely go ahead and explore what this news is all about, because the UK law will allow authorities to seize your cryptocurrency assets from whoever they suspect. And what is crazy, guys, is they can go out and take all of your cryptocurrencies without charging you for a crime as well. That, to be honest, is absolutely dangerous, isn't it? So we'll definitely go out and touch base on this news. So quite a lot to cover, guys, in today's episode. And like we do in every Crypto and Coffee a Day podcast, I'm going to be covering 2 news from Dubai, UAE, and the Middle East. Now the first news, guys, is actually an old news dating to 18th of April. I probably should have covered that last month, but I'll definitely go out and touch base on that news. And the news, guys, is to do with Chili's. And the news, guys, is that the UAE Pro League, they have partnered with Chili's to boost fan interaction and global expansion. So I'll definitely go ahead and touch base on this news. Now look, guys, it's really important to note that this news that I'm going to be discussing is almost a month old, and there might be some positive developments so far as this news is concerned. Now the second news, guys, is in the world of artificial intelligence, and this news, guys, is a massive news, and this is to do with Legionella bacteria. Now the news, guys, is that the Dubai Central Laboratory have implemented AI-based technology, and that will actually detect Legionella bacteria. So definitely positive news. So quite a lot to cover, guys, in today's episode. Let's kickstart with it right away. Welcome to the Crypto and Coffee at 8, the daily podcast that keeps you up to date on all latest developments in the world of cryptocurrencies, blockchain, and NFTs. Join us Monday to Friday as you kick off your day with a cup of coffee and a deep dive into the exciting and rapidly evolving world of digital assets. We'll cover the latest news and trends in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space, as well as delve into the growing world of NFTs or non-fungible tokens and metaverse. Plus, we'll keep you updated on the latest developments from Dubai, UAE, and the wider Middle East region. Whether you're a seasoned crypto enthusiast or just getting started, Crypto and Coffee at 8 has something for you. Our expert host will provide insight and analysis on the most important topics in the industry and help you stay up to date on the latest developments. We'll bring you interviews with leading figures in the crypto and blockchain space and explore the ways in which these technologies are changing the world around us. From the impact on traditional financial systems to the potential for revolutionizing industries and transforming societies, we'll cover it all on Crypto and Coffee at 8. So tune in and join us for a daily dose of Crypto and Coffee at 8, and let's stay ahead of the curve together. We'll start your day off right with the most important news and insights from the world of cryptocurrency, blockchain, and the metaverse, and help you navigate this exciting and rapidly evolving landscape. In Crypto and Coffee at 8, the daily podcast covers the latest developments in the world of cryptocurrency, blockchain, and the metaverse. We'll also bring you updates on the latest news from Dubai, UAE, and wider Middle East region. This also includes a range of topics such as developments in the local and blockchain industry, including new projects and initiatives, regulatory updates, and policies related to cryptocurrency and blockchain in the region, local and regional events and conferences focused on crypto and blockchain, interviews with leading figures in Dubai, UAE, and Middle East crypto and blockchain community, coverage of any significant news or events related to cryptocurrency and blockchain in the region. By covering these local and regional developments, in addition to the wider world of cryptocurrency and blockchain, Crypto and Coffee at 8 aims to provide a comprehensive overview of the industry and its impact on the Dubai, UAE, and Middle East region. Now, before we kickstart today's episode, I have an important message, so check this out. Thank you to our sponsors for being part of the blockchain DXB journey. Firstly, Advanced Media. Advanced Media, guys, is the largest distributor of professional video, photo, broadcast, and cinematic equipment and accessories in the Middle East and MENA region. With over 2 decades of experience, Advanced Media is now the largest distributor in the Middle East, representing more than 100 recognizable brands, including brands such as Zeiss, DJI, Hasselblad, Red, and Rode. As a matter of fact, guys, the very mic that I'm recording is being sponsored by Advanced Media as well, and Advanced Media has showrooms in Saudi Arabia and services as well. Looks like they're definitely taking the Middle East by storm. And here's the beautiful thing, guys, they're taking corporate social responsibility very seriously, and they're focusing on 3 P's, that is people, planet, and prosperity. Now listen, guys, if you do want to find out more information regarding the statement of corporate social responsibility, check out the website, that is www.amt.tv. And here's the beautiful thing, guys, they also want to be a leader and set an example and reputation as a pioneer and member of the community. And in doing so, guys, they also have an AMT scholarship with SAE Institute in Dubai, UAE, so definitely check it out. And also, guys, Advanced Media is committed to persistently developing, organizing, and hosting training workshops, seminars, and community events that educate, inform, and familiarize consumers with new equipment and the latest technological advances. So listen, guys, do one thing. If you do want to support this channel, go to the website, that is www.amt.tv, and follow the social media channels as well. All of the details are in the show notes below. Next, Tough Mudder Arabia, guys, they are putting some really iconic events in the Middle East, and there is one final event of the season that takes place on the 20th of April in the iconic location called as Al Marjan in Ras Al Khaimah. And the final event of the season, guys, is not going to be an ordinary event. They're going to be having some really cool obstacles. And so far as Tough Mudder is concerned, guys, they create hardcore obstacle courses designed to test your all-round strength, stamina, and mental grit. And with the most innovative courses and millions of participants all around the world, it is the premier challenge series in the world. Now look at Tough Mudder Arabia, they did put out, if not one of the biggest events in the world of obstacle course race, and they did that with the highest prize money in the history of obstacle course race. And what better way to end the series by having one final event on the 20th of April in the iconic location. Now look guys, one of my goals is to complete 100 Tough Mudder, and I'm very close to getting there. Now if you want to go ahead and sign up for this event, the registration link is in the show notes below. So what are you waiting for guys? Get your friends, get your family members, get your colleagues. The link to the registration for Tough Mudder Arabia on the 20th of April is in the show notes below. And if you go through the link guys, there is a cool discount code mentioned in the show notes below as well. So hopefully guys, I see you at the Tough Mudder event. Next, Startup OI is global one tech platform for tech. It offers global high-paying tech jobs with flexibility in working time and location, global free tech events, and tech networks to connect with global like-minded engineers. A brilliant platform to listen to the tech experts in Metaverse and to grab their insights. Now listen, all you have to do is download the app Startup OI. If you're using an Android version, go to Google Store and App Store for iOS devices. Alternatively, you can also click on the show notes below to download Startup OI. Next, guys, listen, if you're into fitness, if you're into adventure, if you want to do something wild but still want to keep your health in check, there is a new podcast in town, a podcast focusing on obstacle course race in the Middle East. The podcast is called the Race Pace Podcast. So check out the Race Pace Podcast across all leading platforms. And the Race Pace Podcast is a peer-to-peer community-driven podcast where they talk all about obstacle course race in the Middle East, from Sandstorm to Spartan Race, from Tough Mudder to Desert Warrior Challenge, and also the Government Gov Games, and quite a lot more. The podcast has interviews with athletes locally and internationally to get inside scoop on how athletes prepare for obstacle course race. In the podcast, they also talk about interesting stories on why they are motivated to do obstacle course race. And that's not all. They also plan to release 7 NFTs. And these NFTs are no ordinary. These NFTs will represent every emirate in the UAE. And listen guys, these NFTs are going to be absolutely massive. So do one thing, go to Spotify, go to iTunes, go to any leading podcasting platform and search for Rise in the Obstacle Course Race podcast. And finally guys, not your keys, not your crypto. If you have dabbled with cryptocurrencies and now are seriously getting to protect your cryptocurrencies, there is no better way to protect it by using a hardware wallet. And this is where Ledger Wallet kicks in. And Ledger Wallets are hardware cryptocurrency wallets made by Ledger, a company headquartered in Paris, France. And Ledger's hardware wallets are multi-currency wallets that are used to store private keys for cryptocurrencies offline. And Ledger offers 2 hardware wallets, the Ledger Nano and Ledger Nano X wallets. They are world-class experts with extensive crypto security backgrounds. They continuously look for vulnerabilities in Ledger products in a constant effort to improve the level of security. Now, in today's world, securing these digital assets is a critical challenge, and this is where Ledger kicks in. So click the link below to buy your hardware wallet and support this podcast. It is a brilliant way to support this podcast. So what are you waiting for? The link is in the show notes below.
Now guys, since you've taken care of that, let's kickstart by looking at the global cryptocurrency market. Now look guys, because of the CPR numbers, the prices of Bitcoin in the global cryptocurrency market has definitely pumped up. Now look guys, that should not be the case, because when the CPR numbers are good, ideally speaking guys, the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency should collapse, isn't it? So let's say guys, if the CPR numbers were really bad and if the inflation is high, people actually should be withdrawing the funds from the fiat world, and then those funds should be going into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, isn't it? That thing does not happen. That thing only works in theory, I guess. And even in times of, let's say, war and during COVID-19, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies unfortunately have not turned out to be a safe haven. Truth be told guys, stable coins have turned out to be a safe haven during dark times, isn't it? Now so far as today's news is concerned guys, because the CPI numbers are relatively better, or should I say not that bad, it has had a positive impact not just on the cryptocurrency world guys, but also on the stock market as well. Now so far as the global cryptocurrency market is concerned, it is at $2.39 trillion. Now since the last 24 hours, it is up by 6.04%. Now so far as the total cryptocurrency market volume is concerned guys, it is at a staggering $91.12 billion. And since the last 24 hours, it is up by 20.46%. This just shows the power of how much of regulations and how much of impact inflation can have on the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, isn't it? Now look guys, the prices might appear to be good, but when you talk about this guys at a philosophical level, it does not make absolutely any sense, isn't it? Now so far as the volume on DeFi is concerned guys, Unfortunately, guys, the numbers are definitely not looking good. And what I'm noticing, guys, is for almost 2 years, all the metrics are changing, but only the volume in DeFi is exactly the same. And look, guys, in 2019 and 2020, DeFi was such a big hype, and the whole narrative was about decentralized finances. But look, guys, when you talk about the numbers, the volume of DeFi is exactly the same for almost 2 years now. The prices of Bitcoin has changed from $10,000 to $20,000 and even $70,000, but the volume of DeFi is exactly the same. Definitely not ideal in my opinion. Now the volume of DeFi is $6.98 billion and it is accounting for only 7.57% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume, and Lido is still dominating so far as total value locked is concerned at $28.32 billion. But because, guys, the prices of Bitcoin and the global cryptocurrency market has pumped up, the total value locked has come up as well, and as of today it is at $91.41 billion. Now if you look at the decentralized to centralized exchange dominance, guys, it is at 18.76%, and as I mentioned yesterday, guys, I would really like to see decentralized to centralized exchange dominance to be consistent at over 40%. Only then we can confidently state that the world is ready for decentralization, in my opinion. Now so far as the volume of stablecoins is concerned, guys, Uniswap's volume is pretty much the same as yesterday. Today it is at $1.34 billion, but PancakeSwap's volume, guys, has definitely picked up pace. But PancakeSwap volume, guys, is at $590.68 billion. Orca is at number 3rd, and its volume is $370.29 billion. Now the number 4th, guys, is Radium, which I believe works only on Solana blockchain, isn't it? And its volume is $268.05 million. Core Finance, guys, is at number 5th, and its volume is $225.67 million. Now look, guys, since the last 24 hours, what has happened is the volume of stable coins has pumped up a lot, not necessarily decentralized exchanges, because as of today, guys, it is at $85.47 billion, and Wirecoin market cap, guys, stable coins are accounting for 93.80% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. Now look at the uptick in Tether USDT, guys. It is accounting for $69.17 billion, and just few days ago someone did actually ask me what would happen if the US government will actually go after Tether USDT, because if I'm not mistaken, guys, Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, he did actually state in one of the podcasts that the US government most likely will go after Tether USDT. Now look, guys, I'm hoping that thing does not happen, because if that thing happens, guys, that'll be the end of stablecoins in my opinion. Now the number 2nd, guys, so far as the 24-hour volume is concerned, after a very long time is Circle USDC. It is at $7.90 billion, and FDUSD, guys, is at number 3rd, and it is at $7.31 billion. Now it's been almost 2 weeks, guys, where FDUSD has been consistently number 2nd so far as the 24-hour volume is concerned. So it's kind of strange to see Circle USDC back in number 2nd once again. Now let me quickly run through the market cap, 24-hour trading volume and dominance between Bitcoin and Ethereum. Because look, guys, Bitcoin's dominance is definitely pumped up, and it is at 54.60%. Now if I'm not mistaken, guys, roughly around 3 weeks ago, Bitcoin's dominance did actually reach a new benchmark. I really am not sure if 54.60% is the new benchmark since the last few years, to be honest. But so far as Ethereum's dominance is concerned, guys, unfortunately, it is down to 15.20%. Now look, guys, there is a lot of activity taking place in Solana, isn't it? And because of that, the dominance of Ethereum has gone down clearly, right? Now so far as the 24-hour trading volume is concerned, Bitcoin's 24-hour trading volume is $39.02 billion, whereas Ethereum's 24-hour trading volume is at $14.07 billion. Now so far as the market cap of Bitcoin is concerned, guys, it has definitely picked up pace. Today it is at $1.30 trillion, and Ethereum's market cap, guys, is at $362 billion. Now look, guys, this number has only changed because of the CPI numbers, isn't it? That just shows the power of CPI index, guys, because based on this information, Jerome Powell will be making a decision whether to increase the interest rate hike, keep it the same, or will he go ahead and cut the interest rate hike. Only time will tell, I guess. Now in today's episode, guys, let me very quickly run through NFT collection volume for the past 7 days. Now look, guys, I'm looking at these numbers via DeFiLlama.com, and what I'd really recommend you to do is, guys, try to look at these numbers once every 2nd or 3rd day, so you'd get an idea on what is going on in the cryptocurrency world. Now the NFT collection volume, guys, is for the past 7 days, and what you can do is, guys, you can also go ahead and check how many of them have been sold, and the number of NFTs that are currently in place as well. So I'm just going to be reading out the NFT collection volume for 7 days. But look guys, it's great to do some kind of analysis. Now the number one is Bored Ape Yacht Club, and the collection volume for the past 7 days guys is 1721.57 Ethereum. The second one is Pudgy Penguins, and in terms of Ethereum guys, the volume is 1669.03 ETH or Ethereum. CryptoPunks guys is at number 3rd, and its volume is 1270.89 Ethereum. Mutant Ape Yacht Club guys is at number 4th, and its volume is 1025.95 ETH. And finally guys, at number 5th is Azuki, and its volume is 970.83 Ethereum. Now I'm pretty much sure guys, based on these numbers, there might be different indexes that'll be put out, isn't it? So if you're someone who's into flipping NFTs, you may definitely want to go ahead and check these numbers. Now guys, what I want to do next is, I want to go ahead and look at tokenization in the world of central bank digital currency. Now look guys, whether we like central bank digital currency or not, central bank digital currency will be mainstream in the next couple of years. And what I'm going to be doing guys, in the month of June, I will be having a session explaining central bank digital currency. So we'll look at different types of CBDCs, and I'll go ahead and discuss some of the benefits, some of the negatives, and some of the dangers of central bank digital currency as well. And I'll also go ahead and make a quick comparison between central bank digital currency and Bitcoin. But in today's episode guys, I'm going to be explaining how tokenization will actually work in central bank digital currency. Now look guys, as we know, tokenization is a process where real-world assets or financial instruments are represented digitally as tokens on blockchain or distributed ledger technology, isn't it? And this technology guys is increasingly being explored and implemented by central banks in the context of central bank digital currencies. So what I want to do is, I want to take a deep dive into some of the key aspects and considerations surrounding tokenization in the context of central bank digital currencies, also called as CBDCs. So I want to go ahead and touch base on 6 points guys. That is asset tokenization, interoperability and standards, smart contracts and programmability, privacy and confidentiality, regulatory considerations, and also technological challenges. And after that guys, what I want to do is, I want to go ahead and quickly compare central bank digital currency on tokenization in the context of double spending. Because look guys, so far central bank digital currency is concerned, double spending is one of the biggest dangers, isn't it? So I'll definitely go ahead and share my thoughts and opinion on it. But first guys, let's go ahead and look at tokenization in the world of CBDCs. And the first point I'd like to talk about is regarding asset tokenization. Now look guys, central bank digital currencies can represent various types of assets, including fiat currency, securities, commodities, or even real-world assets like real estate or artwork. And by tokenizing these assets, central banks can digitize and facilitate the transfer on blockchain networks. Now asset tokenization guys involves a conversion of physical or digital assets into digital tokens, each representing a fraction or whole unit of the underlying asset. And these tokens guys are then recorded on a blockchain or distributed ledger, providing a secure and transparent means of ownership and transfer. Now so far as interoperability and standards is concerned guys, you need to understand that interoperability refers to the ability of different systems and network to communicate and interact seamlessly. Now look guys, in the context of Web 3.0 and CBDCs, we talk about interoperability as a massive thing, isn't it? That should not be the case, because in the world of Web 2.0 guys, interoperability has been in place for well over 2 decades. So you can send a Gmail to a Yahoo account or a Hotmail account. That is interoperability, isn't it? But look guys, in the world of tokenization, interoperability is crucial for facilitating cross-border transactions and ensuring compatibility with existing financial infrastructure. Now could it be possible to have CBDCs interoperable, let's say with Ethereum or let's say Solana blockchain? I definitely do think so, and that is something which needs to be worked on as well, isn't it? And to achieve interoperability guys, standardization efforts are essential, and standard protocols and formats for tokenized assets and transactions enable different CBDCs to communicate effectively, thereby reducing friction and enhancing efficiency. So far as cross-border payments and settlements is concerned, and so far smart contracts and programmability is concerned guys, smart contracts as we know are self-executing smart contracts with the terms of agreement directly written into code, isn't it? Now in the context of tokenized CBDCs guys, smart contracts enable programmable functionality, allowing for automated and conditional transactions. For example guys, smart contracts can automate the execution of complex financial agreements such as let's say derivative contracts or even supply chain financial arrangements, and they can also facilitate automated compliance with regulatory requirements such as KYC, that is know your customer, and also AML regulations, that is anti-money laundering. Now look, as I did touch base on this yesterday as well, it is possible to do it on permission blockchain, but so far central bank digital currency is concerned, I would like to assume that this is already in place as it, because in order to use your CBDCs, you need to go ahead and do your KYC and also do your AML, because it will be connected directly to your central bank or to your banking account. Now, so far as privacy and confidentiality is concerned, guys, while blockchain technology provides transparency and immutability, it also raises concerns about privacy and confidentiality, particularly in the context of financial transactions. Now, central banks must implement privacy-enhancing technologies, and they can do that by, let's say, implementing zero-knowledge proofs or privacy-preserving protocols, and they need to protect sensitive transaction data while still maintaining the integrity of the blockchain ledger, in my opinion. Now, look, as balancing transparency with privacy is extremely crucial in the design and implementation of tokenized CBDCs to ensure compliance with privacy regulations and also user expectation. Now look, guys, the next part I want to talk about is regulatory consideration, and this is the area, guys, where I do feel that central bank digital currencies will have a much better competitive advantage, let's say so far as open blockchain is concerned. Now look, guys, I'm also thinking about what happened to Tornado Cash. Keeping all these things in mind, guys, I hate saying this, but tokenization might just be better so far as CBDCs is concerned, because look, the tokenization of assets and issuance of CBDCs will raise various regulatory considerations, including legal frameworks, compliant requirements, and oversight mechanism. But because it is managed by a central entity and central bank, I'm pretty much sure they have rules and regulations already in place. Now, central banks, guys, must collaborate with regulatory authorities to establish clear guidelines and regulatory frameworks for the issuance, trading, and custody of tokenized assets and CBDCs, and this includes addressing concerns related to investor protection, market integrity, and systemic risk. Now finally, guys, I'd like to talk about technological challenges. Now look, guys, implementing tokenized CBDCs involve overcoming various technological challenges, including scalability, interoperability, security, and usability as well. But central banks must invest in robust and scalable blockchain infrastructure, develop interoperability standards, and implement robust security measures to ensure the resilience and reliability of tokenized CBDC system. So look, as in summary, tokenization holds significant potential for transforming the financial landscape by digitizing assets, enhancing efficiency, and enabling new form of programmable finance. However, guys, realizing this potential requires addressing various technical, regulatory, and operational challenges to ensure the safe, secure, and efficient deployment of tokenized CBDCs. Now look, guys, these are some basic points on how tokenization can actually work with central bank digital currency. But look, guys, one of the biggest dangers of central bank digital currency is double spending, and this goes back to why Bitcoin was created. Now look, guys, one of the inventions of Satoshi Nakamoto was actually solving the double spending problem. Now what I'd really recommend you to do is, guys, on the 20th of April, I went ahead and explained what double spending is and what is it that Satoshi Nakamoto did in order to prevent double spending. So please feel free to go ahead and listen to that episode. Now it's really important to understand, guys, that so far central bank digital currency is concerned, as the word indicates central, there is 100% possibility of double spending. So let me go ahead and share how central bank digital currency will actually merge with tokenization in the context of double spending. Because look, guys, double spending occurs when the same digital currency is spent more than once, exploiting a loophole in transaction verification process. Now this risk is particularly pronounced in digital currency systems where transactions are recorded and verified on decentralized network such as blockchain. Now in case of central bank digital currencies issued in tokenized form, there is a very high risk of double spending if malicious actors attempt to manipulate the system by spending the same token multiple times before the transactions are recorded and verified. And look, as the government authorities, they can also go ahead and easily double spend. Now so far as tokenization and double spending is concerned, guys, tokenization involves representing real world assets or financial instruments as digital tokens on a blockchain or distributed ledgers in it. Now while tokenization offers benefits such as increased efficiency and transparency, it also introduces a risk of double spending if it is not implemented securely, and if a tokenized CBDC, guys, is not designed with robust mechanism to prevent double spending, malicious actors or government entities could attempt to create counterfeit tokens or manipulate transaction records to spend the same token multiple times, leading to financial losses and undermining trust in currency and the central bank. Now look, guys, this is where you also need to understand the pillars of open blockchain, and one of the pillars of open blockchain is publicly verifiable. And if you look at all Bitcoin transactions, guys, absolutely anyone in the world can go ahead and verify these transactions, isn't it? But in the context of CBDCs, guys, only you will be able to verify only your transactions, and the second party who can go ahead and verify the transactions is the central bank, isn't it? And there are systems in place. If there is a bank that will be involved, they might be able to view the transactions as well. So it is so critical, guys, that when you're designing CBDCs or even tokenization, you truly need to understand double spending problem. Now the next point, guys, I'd like to talk about is security measures. And central banks, guys, must implement stringent security measures to mitigate the risk of double spending in tokenized CBDCs. This includes cryptographic techniques, consensus mechanism, and transaction validation protocol to ensure the integrity and immutability of blockchain ledger. Now look, guys, it's really important to note that central banks all over the world, they can go ahead and use updated technology that is beyond blockchain technology, and they can use gossip protocol that is implemented by Hedera Hashgraph. And in that case, guys, double spending is possible, isn't it? Now it's really important to note, by incorporating features such as digital signatures, time-stamping, and consensus algorithm, tokenized CBDC systems can prevent unauthorized duplication of tokens and provide a secure and tamper-proof record of transactions. But look, guys, who can go ahead and verify these transactions? It'll only be the authorities, the government staff, and the employees of central bank, and you as user who will be able to verify these transactions, isn't it? But in case of Bitcoin, guys, absolutely anyone in the world can go ahead and verify these transactions. And some of the Twitter IDs, guys, they have bots that automatically identify some anomalies. But in case of CBDCs, guys, that thing is completely taken out, and the central bank will have 100% control over the transactions. Now, so far as transaction monitoring is concerned, guys, one approach to mitigating the risk of double spending is to implement real-time transaction verification mechanism that quickly validate and confirm transactions on the blockchain network by reducing the time window for potential double spending attacks. Real-time verification enhances the security and reliability of tokenized CBDC transactions. But look, guys, let's say if the person handling the code changes, and if there is a political involvement, that thing can still be done, isn't it? So look, our central bank should explore solutions such as instant settlement protocols and zero confirmation transactions to further minimize the risk of double spending in tokenized CBDC system. Now the last point, guys, I'd like to talk about is regulatory oversight. And regulatory oversight is essential to ensure the integrity and also the stability of tokenized CBDCs, and thereby mitigating the risk of double spending. Regulators must establish clear guidelines and standards for the issuance, trading, and custody of tokenized assets, including CBDCs, to prevent fraudulent activities and protect investors. Now, collaboration between central banks, regulatory authority, and industry stakeholders is extremely crucial for developing robust regulatory frameworks and oversight mechanism that addresses the unique challenges that are posed by tokenization and digital currencies. So look, as in summary, the only thing I'd like to say is that while tokenization offers numerous benefits for CBDCs, including, let's say, increased efficiency and transparency, it also introduces the risk of double spending if not implemented securely, and central banks must employ stringent security measures, real-time transaction verification mechanism, and robust regulatory oversight to mitigate the risk and ensure the integrity and reliability of tokenized CBDC system. So let me know, guys, what are your thoughts on regarding this. And listen, guys, if you do have any feedback or suggestions, drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com. Now, guys, let's look at the king of all kings, that is Bitcoin. Now, the price of Bitcoin has pumped up a lot, isn't it? And right now it is at $66,127. And since the last 24 hours, guys, it is up by 7.25%. And since the last 7 days, it is up by 7.98%. Now look, guys, if you're in the world of trading, there is an article which is published by Bitcoin.com that actually states that over 50,000 traders were liquidated as the price of Bitcoin went below the $66,000 mark, and crypto derivative, guys, faced $127 million liquidation. Definitely not ideal, isn't it? But look, guys, because the CPI numbers were good, fortunately or unfortunately, it has impacted the price of Bitcoin in a positive way, which is a bit bizarre, isn't it? Because in an idealistic world, guys, if the CPI numbers are bad, that should be an idealistic time when the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency should pump up. But the cryptocurrency world is absolutely crazy and wild, isn't it? Now Ethereum, guys, is at $3,014, and since the last 24 hours, it is up by 4.38%, and since the last 7 days, it is up by 1.67%. Binance BNB Coin, guys, is well below the $600 mark still. It is at $584, and since the last 24 hours, it is up by 3.37%, but since the last 7 days, it is down by 0.53%. Now look, guys, before I talk about CPI index, what I want to ask you guys is, where do you look at CPI information? Where do you look at numbers for inflation, guys? Because there is only one website to look at, and that is the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And the Consumer Price Index, guys, while the Bureau of Labor Statistics does actually state that Bidenflation is at 3.4%. Now last month, guys, the inflation was at 3.5%, so it has just marginally gone down. But if you look at mainstream media, guys, they are portraying as though inflation has gone down by a lot. That is not the case. Now what I'd really recommend you to do is, guys, in the show notes below, there's a detailed breakdown of inflation, and that takes into consideration, let's say, your housing, your renting, retail, and quite a lot of other. And at the bottom of the page, guys, it clearly states how the inflation is calculated. I would definitely recommend you to go ahead and look at that. And listen, guys, if you want a clearer explanation, what I'd really recommend you to do is copy paste it, put it into ChatGPT, and ask ChatGPT to give a better explanation. Simple as that. Now fortunately, guys, because the Bidenflation is at 3.4%, which is marginally less than the previous month, the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency has pumped up. No other reason, isn't it? And what is really important to note, guys, based on the numbers of CPI, that is Consumer Price Index, Federal Reserve Board Chair Jerome Powell will be making a decision whether to cut the interest rate hike, keep it the same, or reduce it. Now mainstream media, guys, is actually saying is that Jerome Powell will go ahead and cut the interest rate. Now the only reason why they want to do that, guys, is mainstream media is known for putting out fake information, isn't it? And they are extremely left-leaning, and they are advocates of Joe Biden, and they want to go ahead and put a picture that the market is extremely looking good. That necessarily need not be the case, guys, because look, 3 months in a row, inflation has been on an uptick, and Jerome Powell, guys, did clearly state that because the inflation has been picking up, he does not want to go ahead and make any hasty decision to go ahead and increase the interest rate hike. Now I'm pretty much sure, because the inflation has just gone down, he would not want to make a hasty decision to go ahead and cut the interest rate down as well, isn't it? I'd like to think that he'd wait for at least 2 or 3 more CPI indexes and then go ahead and make the decision. Now look, guys, in the world of currencies, Japanese yen is not doing that great as well, and there are reports that the US government has printed more fiat currency in order to go ahead and save the US dollar, which will indirectly save the Japanese yen as well. Now because of that, could it be possible that the CPI numbers were relatively low? Most likely yes, guys, because that news did actually take place just few days earlier as well. These are some of the dangers of fiat currency, isn't it? In case of Bitcoin, guys, we just absolutely cannot create new Bitcoins, isn't it? These are things you need to factor as well. Now look, guys, in the world of Ethereum, there's a really interesting update. So what has happened, guys, is 2 brothers were arrested for attacking the Ethereum blockchain, and they actually stole $25 million in cryptocurrency, and they did that only during a 12-second exploit. And the actual indictment, guys, is in the show notes below. Now the indictment actually claims that the brothers were using advanced computer science and mathematical skills, and they manipulated the Ethereum transaction process to access and alter pending transactions, and they planned the scheme over several months, and they were actually learning victim trading behavior and setting up ways to hide their identities and the stolen funds. And after the exploit, guys, they used various methods to launder the money, including setting up shell companies and foreign exchanges as well. So let me go ahead and break down this news in more detail, guys, because look, if Netflix does actually have a look at this, they could actually go ahead and make a mini documentary about this, isn't it? And the 2 brothers, guys, were Anton and James Pereira Bruno, and the brothers were from Boston and New York, and they are charged with several serious crimes that include conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and conspiracy to commit money laundering. So let me go ahead and break down the entire case, guys, because Anton is 24 years old, and his brother James, he's 28 years old, and both of them studied mathematics and computer science at a prestigious university. Now they used advanced skills and knowledge of cryptocurrency trading to develop a sophisticated scheme. So what was the scheme, guys? What they actually did, they targeted Ethereum blockchain, which as we know is one of the leading smart contracting platforms, isn't it? And the brothers, guys, they planned the scheme for several months, and they were actually learning how the potential victims traded cryptocurrency, and they actually exploited a vulnerability on how Ethereum processes and validates transactions. Now, so far as the Department of Justice lawsuit is concerned, guys, it revolves a scheme where two brothers targeted Ethereum trading bots to profit from MEV, that is maximum extractable value, and maximum extractable value MEV refers to the potential profit that can be extracted from ordering the transaction within a block. Now, it's really important to note, guys, that these transactions are processed in a particular sequence that can be manipulated for financial gains, and the brothers, guys, earned $25 million as they saw a flaw in the MEV boost protocol, allowing them to gain an unfair advantage over other bots. Now, it's really important to note, guys, that they also ran their own validator while extracting maximum extractable value or MEV, violating norms within the MEV community as well. Now look, guys, there's a healthy debate going on in the Ethereum community as well. But look, guys, despite debates within the crypto community about the ethics of MEV exploitation, the Department of Justice's focus is on the fraudulent actions of the brothers rather than condemning MEV or Ethereum itself. Now some are actually arguing that exploiting the MEV bots is actually fair since they exploit end users, while others are advocating for minimizing MEV's impact on Ethereum. Now look, guys, this incident highlights the complexity of addressing MEV within Ethereum. While efforts to minimize MEV are ongoing, completely eliminating is still challenging in my opinion. So far as the exploit is concerned, guys, the brothers' scheme involved gaining unauthorized access to pending transactions on Ethereum blockchain. So look, guys, when I send Ethereum from one person to another, it goes to something called as mempool, isn't it? And in that mempool, guys, they manipulated these transactions to redirect $25 million worth of cryptocurrency to their own accounts, and the entire exploit just took 12 seconds to execute. And what they did, guys, in order to avoid detections, Anton and Jane took several steps to hide their identities and the stolen cryptocurrency. So they created shell companies, which is kind of like fake companies, and they also used multiple private cryptocurrency addresses as well. And to make it interesting, guys, they also used foreign cryptocurrency exchanges, which have fewer identity verification requirements. Now, after stealing the funds, guys, they then moved the cryptocurrency through many transactions to go and obscure its origins. Now, the story doesn't end there, guys. They research ways to further cover the tracks, such as finding exchanges with weak Know Your KYC procedures, and they were also consulting lawyers with expertise in cryptocurrency cases as well. But look, guys, despite the efforts, that is the IRCCI unit, traced the stolen funds and linked the crime to the brothers. Now, so far as the legal proceedings is concerned, guys, Anton and James were arrested in Boston and New York respectively, and now they are facing charges that could result in 20 years in prison for each count if convicted. Now look, guys, this case is really unique, to be honest, as it involves a novel and technologically sophisticated method of committing fraud and money laundering, in my opinion. So it's going to be really interesting to see what the outcome to this is. Now, what I'd really recommend you to do is Laura Shin, guys, who is the host of Unchained podcast. I'm pretty much sure she will be covering this news, and whenever there's some exploit or hack, she calls some of the most excellent people, and they break down the explanation. Now, regarding the vulnerability, guys, the Flashbot teams quickly patched the vulnerability exploited by the brothers, mitigating lasting implications. So look, guys, in essence, the lawsuit underscores the importance of addressing fraudulent activities within crypto space, while also recognizing technical challenges within the MEV and blockchain security. Now, guys, let's go ahead and discuss some news in the world of tokenization again, and this is with two giants, that is MasterCard and Standard Chartered. And MasterCard and Standard Chartered Bank Hong Kong have successfully tested MasterCard's multi-token network, also called as MTN, and they did that by conducting an atomic swap of tokenized carbon credit for cash. Now, this took place, guys, in Hong Kong Monetary Authority's fintech supervisory sandbox, and a Mox Bank client deposited funds and requested to buy a carbon credit, and Standard Chartered Bank Hong Kong, guys, tokenized the carbon credit to Liberia, and the multi-token network, or MTN, enabled a real-time swap of tokenized assets across different blockchains. Now, what I'd really recommend you to do is, guys, more details regarding this is in Cointelegraph. Now, this was just a trial transaction, guys, and I very specifically remember, guys, Emirates NBD Bank, They tried to do something similar in Ethereum. This was going back to 2018. Now, I really like to stress, guys, that this was just a trial transaction, and based on the feedback that they get, I'm pretty much sure they're going to go ahead and make any changes, isn't it? Now, guys, let's discuss some really interesting news, and this is to do with UK, guys. Now, the article actually states that if you go to UK, guys, the government can actually go ahead and seize your cryptocurrency. Now, the reason why, guys, this is possible is because in April, a new UK law will actually allow authorities to seize cryptocurrency assets from suspects without charging them with a crime. Now, this change, guys, came effective on 26th of April 2024. That resulted from Amendment to Economic Crime and Corporate Transparency Act of 2023, also called as ECCTA, which updated the Proceeds of Crime Act 2002, also called as POCA. So look, guys, now UK Police and National Crime Agency, that is NCA, can confiscate crypto assets and related physical items, let's say like flash drives and written passwords from those suspected of criminal activity. Additionally, guys, authorities can also go ahead and destroy crypto assets if returning them to circulation is deemed harmful to the public. Now, one way they can do that, guys, is by physically breaking the device, or in Ethereum, guys, there is also something called as burning mechanism. So essentially what they can do is, once they get access to the private key, they can go ahead and send these funds to a public address that does not have a private key, and that process, guys, is called as burning mechanism. Now look, guys, in the session that I talk about central bank digital currencies, what central bank digital currencies can do is they can have a public address without any private key, so any excess money that they have can be sent to that public address, and that can actually solve inflation to a very large extent, isn't it? So what I'd really recommend you to do is, guys, in my Crypto and Coffee at 8 podcast, probably next week or week after that, I'll go ahead and announce when I'll go ahead and have a central bank digital currency session, and I'll definitely go ahead and touch base on that news. Now, these were some macro level news, guys, on the cryptocurrency and blockchain world. Now, let's look at two news from Dubai, UAE, and the Middle East. Now, the first news, guys, is the positive news, and the news essentially is that UAE Pro League, they partnered with Chili's to boost fan interaction and global expansion, and this news goes back to almost a month now. And this partnership, guys, aims to enhance the league's international presence through Web3 technologies, and this is a multi-year agreement between UAE Pro League and Chili's, and the first stage of the partnership, guys, involves developing a Web3-based fantasy football game, and blockchain technology will be used to create a unique and immersive fan experience, and fans, guys, will have the opportunity to own exclusive blockchain-authenticated game scored balls, and details of the distribution of these blockchains, guys, will be provided pretty soon. Now, the UAE Pro League, guys, features 14 clubs and is the most popular sports competition in the UAE, and the collaboration, guys, is part of the league's strategic efforts to enhance fan interaction, and this partnership aims to expand UAE Pro League's global footprint. Now, Chili's, guys, as we know, is committed to supporting football in the MENA region, isn't it? And the UAE Pro League, also known as ADNOC Pro League, has partnered with Chili's, and Chili's, guys, is a giant leading blockchain provider for sports and entertainment industry. Now, this partnership aims to enhance the league's international presence through Web3 technologies, and this, guys, is a multi-year agreement between UAE Pro League and Chili's. Now, this partnership, guys, will bring advanced technology to the UAE Pro League, and Chili's aims to contribute to the growth and popularity of football within the UAE. And the UAE Pro League CEO, guys, that is Walid Al-Hussaini, expressed excitement about the partnership, and the agreement, guys, is seen as setting new standards for technological innovation in sports, and the UAE Pro League, guys, seeks to lead in football professionalism and fan engagement, and Alexander Dreyfus, the CEO of Chili's and Socials.com, emphasized the importance of partnership for integrating Web3 technologies in football. So definitely positive news. Now, guys, let's discuss some news in the world of artificial intelligence, and the news essentially, guys, is that Dubai Central Laboratory, they have implemented AI-based technology to detect Legionella bacteria. So let me go ahead and share this news. Because the Dubai Central Laboratory, guys, has implemented AI-based technology to detect Legionella bacteria, and this technology achieves up to 99% accuracy in quantifying bacterial counts, and the procedure, guys, is supported by an integrated technology system with 5,000 advanced devices, and the results are generated within 48 hours compared to standard 14-day process. This, guys, is a brilliant use case of implementing artificial intelligence, isn't it? Imagine, guys, once quantum computing kicks in, this time could be further reduced from 48 hours to maybe real time as well, isn't it? And listen, guys, Joe Rogan, he did have an interview, I believe, roughly around 2 months ago, where he was talking about quantum computing, merging with artificial intelligence, and he was precisely talking about these points, how some of the medical tests, which takes months to complete, could actually happen real time. Now look guys, this is a brilliant use case, reducing 14 days to merely 48 hours. These are some really beneficial use cases, isn't it? Now the laboratory guys has performed over 100,000 microbiological tests annually, and the AI technology is the first in the region for detecting Legionella pulmonary bacteria. Now Legionella gas causes acute respiratory infections and is now identified more accurately and sustainably. And not only that guys, the technology quantifies lab bacterial colonies with extremely high precision, and faster detection leads to fewer laboratory supply requirements. And engineer Hind Mohammed Ahmad highlighted the commitment to developing digital infrastructure in laboratories. Now this move guys aims to enhance the effectiveness of Dubai's health and safety system, isn't it? And the technology aligns with globally recognized standards for laboratory and calibration certificates, and it has been accredited by European Water Testing Network and AOAC International as well. And the AI method guys improves public health by quickly identifying the bacteria, and microbiological tests ensure the safety of food, water and consumer products in Dubai. And the laboratory system guys includes specialized labs for chemical analysis, infrastructure materials and quite a lot more. And the laboratory provides technical consultations, training and inspection services, and this initiative guys supports high quality living conditions for Dubai residents, isn't it? So definitely positive news. And look guys, so far as artificial intelligence is concerned, if I'm comparing let's say with cryptocurrencies and blockchain, I can actually see use cases of artificial intelligence already being implemented. But so far as Web3 and blockchain is concerned, we are still in the planning stage in my opinion. So those are my honest thoughts, to be honest. So that's about all guys from cryptocurrency, blockchain and artificial intelligence world, from Crypto Incorporated, from blockchain DXB. In case if you guys have any feedback or suggestions, mention them in the comments below. And guys, if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating and share the word across. Now for the next few minutes is going to be an Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi and Metaverse. So let's get started with the Ask Me Anything series. Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain DXB, listening to the Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi and Metaverse. I have a question to Lauren who asks, when do you think is the next FOMC meeting? And what do you expect Jerome Powell's announcement regarding the interest rate hike? Now so far as the FOMC meeting is concerned, Lauren, what I'd really recommend you to do is go to the Federal Reserve Board website, and that does actually have a calendar. So let me just quickly have a check on that. Now I'm looking at the calendar right now, Lauren. Now the next FOMC meeting is scheduled to take place on the 12th of June. Now really I'm not sure what is the exact time, because I'm in Dubai right now. And last time they had the session was I believe on the 1st of May. And the announcement did actually take place at 10 p.m. Gulf Standard Time. So I'm pretty much sure it's going to be at 10 p.m. that day as well. Now look, what Federal Chair Jerome Powell will be doing is, he'll be looking at plethora of information, and CPI data is one of them. And based on the information, what I do feel is that he will not cut the interest rate hike. He would rather keep it the same. Now I'm looking at some information right now. For almost 7 months in a row, the interest rate has exactly been the same. That, to be honest, is definitely not looking good from a political point of view, because earlier I did actually mention that FOMC meeting and CPI numbers do give an impression to voters as to how the administration is doing. And truth be told, this year, last year in 2022, has been absolutely worse for Biden administration. When President Trump wasn't in charge, there was absolutely no wars. And if you actually look at inflation via the official source, which is the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the inflation used to hover somewhere between 1%, which was absolutely great, not just for the United States, but for the entire world as well. Now look, based on the data that I'm looking at, prior to 7 months, Lauren, the interest rate was actually lower. It was between 5% to 5.25% for 2 months, and before that it was even lower actually. But looks like the inflation has actually picked up, and it has been consistent for 5.25% to 5.50% for 7 months in a row. Now keeping all these things in mind, I wouldn't be surprised if Jerome Powell does decide to go ahead and keep the same interest rate hike, Because as I mentioned earlier as well, Japan did have some currency problems, and because of that, what the US government did, they went ahead and printed more money. Now what I'm going to be doing, Lauren, is at around 10 p.m. Gulf Standard Time via LinkedIn, I will be going live with a friend of mine, that is Marco Shintita, and we'll definitely go ahead and discuss that. So what I'd really recommend you to do is go to LinkedIn and search for Society X or even Blockchain DXB and try to go ahead and listen to our conversation. We'll try to go ahead and look at that. Now we won't talk too much about it, but just give real broad explanation. Now what I'd really recommend you to do is, Lauren, and even for our listeners, and I've said this thing probably a million times, whenever Jerome Powell goes live, he goes and gives an explanation as to why he's gone ahead and decided to, let's say, keep the interest rate hike, reduce the interest rate hike, or increase the interest rate hike, and whatever explanation he gives is then followed by a question and answer session. So based on that, go ahead and make up your own mind if you want to go ahead and, let's say, buy Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. Now look, I do feel that on the 12th of June, he will most likely keep the same interest rate hike, and based on the announcement, there is a very high chance that the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies will actually go down, and these are things that traders are well aware about as well. But look, I'm really curious to check the excess money printing, what kind of impact that has so far as the fiat currency is concerned. Historically, what happens is, Lauren, whenever new money is injected, the inflation tends to die down, as it has happened in CPI numbers yesterday, and based on that, Jerome Powell reduces the interest rate hike, but because the money has been printed, 2 or 3 months after that, the inflation comes up, and then Jerome Powell decides to go ahead and increase the interest rate hike, and that is what the numbers are actually stating as well. So what I'd really recommend you to do is, Lauren, and even for our listeners, go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That gives you all the information, not just about inflation, but also about the labor market condition. And Federal Chair Jerome Powell, he looks at labor market conditions quite seriously, because that data is one of the crucial data he takes into consideration when he decides to go ahead and make any changes, let's say, to the interest rate hike. So I would definitely recommend you to go ahead and check that thing as well. And I'll be covering that news in my Crypto and Coffee at 8 podcast, but most likely I'll cover it on the 13th of June. So please feel free to go ahead and attend that as well. And that's about all, guys. I'm the Ask Me Anything series on Blockchain DXB. In case if you guys have any feedback or suggestions, mention them in the comments below. Or guys, you can also drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com. And guys, please feel free to go ahead and check out my website. That is www.blockchaindxb.com. And remember, guys, Monday to Thursdays, 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. we have Crypto and Coffee at 8, where we cover top news and information pertaining to the price of cryptocurrencies, some major breaking news, occasionally short and sweet news as well, news that has an impact in the cryptocurrency world. The other two news and information is related to Dubai, UAE and the Middle East from the cryptocurrency and artificial intelligence world. And what you're listening to right now is the Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. So thanks so much for listening, guys, and have a nice one. Bye-bye.